The more I learn about Alex Golesh, the more I like him. I think Auburn nailed this hire.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Brian Smith, host of The Portal, hanging out with us on this Monday edition of the show. Brian, this is a big day. Later today, Auburn's rolling out the red carpet and essentially introducing Alex Golesh to the Auburn fan base, which is super, super exciting. The more, we'll talk about overall impact, and I love that it seems like he has a plan and he's getting to it as quick as possible. But the more I learn about this guy, the more I like this move for Auburn. This is a guy who's been impressive everywhere he goes, but it seems like anyone who has had a professional relationship with this guy, they're stoked for him, and they talk about how much of a hard worker and how much of a dog he is. And then they'll add the caveat of and he's like the greatest guy. He's like the greatest human being, which is important as far as culture fit in Auburn. But man, I just, his offensive prowess and his ability to recruit everywhere he's been is something that's it checks a lot of these boxes, Brian.
Yeah, that makes a big difference, especially because he's recruited in the spots that Auburn recruits. He's got connections to the state of Tennessee. They recruit Georgia really heavy. That's one of the programs that Auburn runs into a lot is the Vols in Atlanta, all over the state of Georgia. And he's got not one, but two stops in the state of Florida. So Auburn's in a really good spot there. And he, again, if you're going to fit culturally at Auburn, being that laid back kind of guy everybody likes, not a lot of head coaches fit that. I'll just be blunt from my personal experience. That's important at Auburn. And I think the people will rally behind that. And then the last part here, I'm just going to throw this out in advance. He scores points. Auburn fans are all in on that. I'll speak for them right now.
Yeah, we need it. It's been so long since we've had a good offense. Really 2017 was the last time I felt like we had a good offense. 2019 had moments for sure. Freshman Bo Nix, it was kind of up and down. But you just look at what he's done. In 2025 USF, this is him 3 years into his tenure at USF, taking over a program who had won 4 games 3 years prior, which is tough to do. That's really, really bad. And in 2025, the season just wrapped up. 7.2 yards per play, which is 5th nationally, and 43 points per game, which is 4th nationally. And Brian, this is where a lot of people say, yeah, but it's against USF's competition at the AAC. I'm like, that's fine. Then let's go to the SEC. Because we have data from when he was a play caller for Tennessee under Josh Heupel. 2021 Tennessee, 6.47 yards per play, 39.3 points per game. And then in 2021, it was arguably the best offense in college football, 7.23 yards per play and 46.1 points per game. We've talked about this before. If you can't get a guy who's won at the P4 level, you get a guy with traits where it can translate. And that's what this is.
Yeah, I think that they have a guy that, especially with the wide receivers that Auburn already has on the roster, guys like Malcolm Simmons, I think would benefit the most from this offense because he's good at, obviously, after watching the Iron Bowl, he can run.
Yes.
So we knew Cam was good and all that. And if Singleton comes back, that's great. But not everybody can get special coverage. Simmons and Barry Thompson, possibly Horatio Field, the wide receiver room. I don't know which guys will or won't. I'm just naming them. But there's a chance that's going to go very, very well for Auburn. Because it's plug and play. Their offense, for those who don't know, is very simplistic. They don't run a ton of routes. They try to go deep. And if you want to play bump, which a lot of teams in the SEC do, the ball's going up top. I think we all know that Ashton and Deuce have the arm to take care of that. So this offense should be the most changed in the SEC next year of anybody. And it probably will not be close.
A lot of his years as a position coach, So Toledo and Illinois and Iowa State, and even UCF, he was over tight ends, but tight end coach, which is interesting because Auburn's tight end play was awful this year. It was awful. Some of that was injury. Some of that was guys entering the portal later in the offseason. I think they felt stuck and they couldn't go get somebody. There's a lot of different things at play. Whatever. The tight end play was not good. And I wonder, well, one, I don't think you have enough on the roster coming back, so you're going to have to go get some guys in the portal. But I wonder how attractive that is to potential tight end targets when the portal opens next month.
Well, if you look at the offense that he's been a part of, and you're obviously going to pitch that as part of the Tigers staff, if they don't know much about it after they read one paragraph, they should be interested. Or Auburn didn't do its job. One of the two.
Right.
I mean, there's playing time available, and we're going to throw the ball. We're in the Southeastern Conference.
And you can make the pitch to running backs too. I mean, it's a balanced system.
Well, I mean, look at the Vols have done in the last 4 years or so at running back. Whoever the starter is gets 1,000 yards.
Right.
So Auburn, like, they've got a running back that's at that level anyway.
Would you say that his offense and Heupel's offenses are similar? I mean, obviously he's from the Heupel disciple, which rhymes and is cute and fun to say. But how similar do you see with what you see at Tennessee versus what you see him doing the last few years at USF? Personnel, obviously, there's going to be some differences, but as far as like relative to like level of competition, would you say that it's pretty similar?
I would say the only difference is it's similar at the base, but he had a running back at quarterback, basically. That guy's, he'll thump you and he'll run around you. Like, he's perfect for the offense.
Yeah.
And because of him, I think they ran it a little more. And at a place like USF, you're not going to get as many go-getters as Auburn has. So you're probably not going to throw deep as much. But now, like, if you look at the Vols, they always have somebody that can stretch the field. They had a couple this year again. And they weren't great on offense at times, but when they were clicking, that's what it's going to look like. And Auburn has I imagine that's one of the reasons he would rather have the Auburn job than a lot of others. The receiver group fits what Alex Golesh wants to do, go up top. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying they didn't do that at USF, but they didn't have the same level of speed.
Yeah.
We'll see a little less running, probably a little more passing, especially against elite teams, because bump and run coverage won't work against Auburn's group with this offense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the offense, the offensive prowess is exactly what Auburn fans want.
They're going to
it's needed. It's certainly needed. So, I also love that he seems to have a plan and he's not wasting a ton of time. And I'll share some of the stories that I heard yesterday. That's next right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the best place to buy tickets. In fact, it's not even close. It's not even close. The World Cup is coming up. I'm going to be honest, I wasn't fully aware. We got 48 teams for the World Cup for the first time ever. First time it's been in America since 1994. It's going to be massive. And buying tickets could be somewhat difficult for this. Normally, but not for you, because you have the Game Time app. If not, you need to download the Game Time app and take the guesswork out of buying World Cup tickets, NBA tickets, college basketball tickets, whatever. Every match, concert, or event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, download the app, make an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Alumni Hall or online at alumnihall.com. It's the best place to buy Auburn gear. I mean, you think of anything Auburn related, goodness gracious, does Alumni Hall have it. Their stores are so fun to go and just browse and shop. And sure, if you've got something specific you need, if you want a new Auburn dress shirt or a new jersey, or all right, we got to pivot to basketball now and you need an Auburn basketball specific shirt, they've got it all. It's also fun just to browse and peruse and take the family there as well. So they've got 3 great physical locations in Auburn, Opelika, and Huntsville, and of course online at alumnihall.com. Brian Smith, host of The Portal, hanging out with us today. And of course, that is Locked On's recruiting, NIL, transfer portal site. Brian's going to be very busy these next 2 months. No question about it. Brian, you're muted. The one thing that I think is interesting about Golesh and exciting about Golesh is that he has a plan. I don't think he's going to waste a whole lot of time with staff. In fact, I heard yesterday that he was telling recruits and commits, because signing day is just a few days away, that he will tell them who their position coach is within 48 hours. Which I think that's a pretty quick turnaround. I think a lot of the offensive stuff is going to be easy. And we're recording this, late Sunday afternoon, early Sunday evening. And there's going to be a conversation with DJ Durkin that they had last night. And I'm sure that's the first step of the defensive side of things. So I think all of this is going to come together pretty quick. But man, like all the flight tracker stuff early Sunday, he brings coaches with him. Cody Burns is coming back to Auburn to be part of the staff, supposedly, which is super, super exciting. And then he sent the plane back to Tampa to get more coaches. And it sounds like this morning, more are heading back to Tampa to get more people. This is going to be a large team, but he knows the guys that he wants. And I think that is an attractive aspect in all of this.
If you have the right fit and you got the people who know how to run the system, and again, what they finish? 4th in the nation in scoring? Or just like, I'm assuming a lot of his offensive staff is headed to the Plains. Defensively, I'm sure, like you said, 100% get it. You got to talk to DJ, but there'll be at least a couple of those guys come over. I'm really curious to see what the blend is, but your point about 48 hours, that is insane. Like if he knows he wants that many, there might only be a couple guys from quote unquote outside the Auburn USF staff.
Yeah.
And they can get running. And I get it. For those that don't know, Wednesday is signing day. If you're a recruit, this is awkward. So this is the one way you do that, to try to solidify this class, but it also gets you rolling with the other thing. Like you got to have a definitive game plan for the portal. So this is how you have to do it if you're Auburn.
Yeah. And it's funny because, I mean, like you're not recruiting the same guys in a lot of situations. There is one guy that's interesting. We'll bring up in a second, but there was an article I read. I don't remember if it was on 3 or 247, but it was with Jace Matthews. And his quote was like, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know much about him, but I'm excited to meet him. But then like you do have guys that I think he's committed to Duke, but Auburn was there in it because I think he liked Auburn. And then he was also super close to Alex Golesh, and USF was in the running. It's the receiver from Maryland. Is it Deshaun Spencer? Yeah, Deshaun Spencer. And so like that all of a sudden becomes interesting. I saw one of the national recruiting writers kind of talk about like, hey, Auburn's a flip candidate here for Deshaun Spencer from Maryland, 100%.
Yeah, that's a really good receiver. I've seen him play a couple times. Great hands. Plays at one of the best programs in the South.
Slot guy?
I think he'll be slot at least to start. As he gets bigger, he might play outside, but he's Malcolm Simmons like in terms of his build. I don't think he's quite as fast, but he's a route runner, really good hands, and he's just been coached. Yeah. This is a kid that'll come in as a mature high school receiver. Those guys you could never have enough of. And by the way, recruiting Mobile area, good idea.
Yeah, sure. The aspect of him as a recruiter, I mean, it sounds like this guy works his tail off, and it sounds like, I mean, early on in his career, when he got to Toledo, he was named recruiting coordinator, and then they had the number 1 recruiting class in their conference, like as soon as they gave him that title. I think it was for the 2 years that he served that role, is my understanding. And so this is different, right? Being a head coach in recruiting in the SEC is different than being a head coach in recruiting at South Florida. It's also different than being a really good offensive coordinator who can recruit in the SEC. It's different. We all know that. It's different. What's your confidence level in him when it comes to attracting and acquiring talent and bringing it to the Plains?
I would say 8 out of 10. They wouldn't have taken him to Tennessee if he couldn't recruit. Hypo knows what he's doing. He's a pretty good coach.
He's a good coach. Sure.
And like he took him with him from UCF. He was his main guy, not only like calling plays and being a part of that. So I think that's good. And then he went back to USF where, my God, the bottom had fallen out of that program. And now they're good again. So he had to evaluate kids that other people didn't necessarily want, take them, and then coach them up. So he did the entire process. Now there's some kids you're going to get at Auburn because it's Auburn. So you're going to get some low-hanging fruit right off the bat. And then on top of it, he's already found the diamonds in the rough, which there's plenty of them in Georgia and Alabama. So Auburn's made a living off of those kids for 100 years. I doubt that's going to change. He's proven it. So now, can he handle the 5-star battle? That's the question. I don't know, because he's never really been in a whole bunch of those as the main guy. That's the only part I don't know.
Brian, one of the negative points to this, the haters of the hire amongst the Auburn fan base, which you're going to get from anyone, and I'm not really being critical. I'm just like trying to ease their concerns because I feel pretty good about this. But they bring up the 23-15 overall record as a head coach, which isn't perfect. But I don't think that's in like context does matter, because there was a writer that compared Sumrall's few years as a head coach and his record to Alex Golesh's record. They both were in the same conference. And I think it's different because Sumrall took over a program that Willie Fritz built up, and he just kept it going. He did a good job. I'm not dissing Sumrall at all. I think he's going to, do a good job at Florida. But this is a guy who took over a program that won 4 games in 3 years. And I just can't get past it. Like, that's a pretty big difference when you actually look at context. My other thing in this is, okay, who of the realistic candidates that you wanted, whose record would you want? Because we all pointed out Eli Drinkwitz's record. Lane Kiffin, I don't think was ever an option for Auburn this cycle. Kenny Dillingham, depending on who you talk to, I don't think it was a real option. He was my number 1. I don't think it was a real option. And so then my question is like, well, what record would you want? Because like Dan Lanning's not leaving Oregon. Kirby Smart's not leaving Georgia. So I don't really understand like the people who are complaining about that specifically, what you wanted.
Well, fan is short for fanatic, which is
great. That's great. I love the passion. That's why we're able to do this for a living, because of the passion.
But realistically, even Lane going to LSU, that's not a slam dunk. Like, quick, name the national title he has. Name the playoff, like his record against top 20. Like, lateral moves.
Name a booster-heavy school like that have had success with a coach like Lane Kiffin.
That's what I mean. There's a lot of risk. So I think the fit at Auburn is good, and everything else, he's recruited in the right spots. The offense is something the fans want to see. The offense fits the players already in the roster. We just need to see him recruit the 5-star kids. We don't know that yet.
Right.
Okay, that's part of it. And then fill out the defensive staff. But I mean, considering the spot Auburn was in when the last time I met with you on this show, it's like 24 hours later, and it's 1,000,000 degrees different in terms of. It's one of the wildest turns. Did we even mention? He might have got mentioned on the show with the last time we were on, but it was like in passing if we did. To get him, because he's somebody, again, I lived in Tampa. He's somebody that was talked about all the time.
Right.
I don't know, man. I think they kind of lucked out, to be honest.
Yeah.
It is there.
No, props to John Cohen for sure. Was this process perfect by John Cohen? No, I think there's some issues for sure. Overall impact moving forward, though, I think it's positive. And I think there are a few players that might be on portal watch that I think they're staying. I think they have a higher chance to stay now. Those guys next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Omaha Steaks. The holidays always feel a little easier when you already know the perfect gift, and Omaha Steaks makes it almost too simple. Whether you're treating yourself this season or sending someone something memorable to family and friends, Omaha Steaks delivers handcrafted perfection right to their door. This has actually been something that we've done with family members. Typically, both my wife and I, when we don't know what to get someone, we've actually done this for like 3 years in a row now. And this is when Omaha wasn't with us. So like, this is truly an endorsement, but it's like, yeah, let's just get them a box of meat that's delicious and they can cook it however they want. And it's always a hit. It's always a hit. And this week's the best time to jump in because their cyber sale is here and the deals are huge. Save big on unforgettable gifts with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide and an extra 20% off select favorites during their cyber sale and an additional $35 off if you use promo code COLLEGE. Just the word college. Use the promo code COLLEGE at checkout. omahasteaks.com, promo code COLLEGE. Terms apply. Check out their site for more details. Brian Smith, host of The Portal, hanging out with us. So the big question now, and the timing's a little bit different, and there's a few things that I wanted to address, and you're the Portal guy. So due to the timing of when Auburn's head coach was named, their portal does not trigger in a few days. It happens next month. So Auburn has plenty of time to get their feet set when it comes to making sure they've got a solid plan for roster retention. The next question is, okay, how many guys can Auburn absolutely afford to they cannot enter the portal? And there's 3 or 4. Some may say higher. I'm going to lean a little bit lower than other people just because I think some of these guys, you can get them in the portal, but you can't get Cam Coleman in the portal. There's not another Cam Coleman that will be in the transfer portal because Jeremiah Smith is not going to be in the transfer portal. And then that's it. So he's one. I think Jay Crawford is another. Some people would say Xavier Atkins is one, and his comments after the Iron Bowl, I don't think he's a guy you have to worry about. I think Cam Coleman is going to stay. Jay Crawford, I don't know. I hope so. I hope so. I talked to a handful of players yesterday, and the general consensus is they are early impressions. They are impressed with Alex Golesh. And I think that's going to be a trend that happens throughout the first few weeks.
You've got to make sure those top end guys that you're talking about are happy, because whether they admit it or not, players on a roster are going to turn to them and say, okay, what did he say to you? I know he's called you. What did he say?
Yeah.
They're going to try to get the secondhand information because he can't interview all 105 players. That's just not realistic. So that's very important. And as long as the top 5, Deuce, Cam, some of the receivers, a few of the defense players, whoever they may be, Crawford, as long as those go well, I'll put the over-under on players that you're that sucks at 2. And if this goes wrong at a lot of other places, it's 5 or 6. And then your next season goes right off a cliff. You're probably going to lose somebody. It's just kind of the math of it. Right. I think it'll be pretty low.
Yeah. Some people would put Deuce Knight in that category.
Agreed.
My argument for that is I think Ashton would be solid in this offense. And then also I kind of wonder if he could bring his quarterback Byron Brown with him. He's got a year left of eligibility supposedly. So that would be my argument of not putting Deuce there. Would I rather Deuce be the guy than the other two? Yes, because I think his upside is higher. But that's my argument of why I only have the list at 2, because that's going to be something that people ask. What do you anticipate these next few weeks to look like when players probably know if they're going to enter the portal or not, but they can't until January? What do you think that logistically looks like? Because there's going to be people that make posts and say, I'm going to enter the transfer portal. Are we just supposed to believe that schools aren't going to reach out to that kid until January? What do you think is going to happen here?
There's 2 or 3 points. I don't know about the timing exact, but because Auburn hired a new coach, I believe it's a 15-day window that opens almost immediately.
It does not trigger because of when Auburn hired their new head coach.
Before December? Is that what it is? Or
it is not before December. So Auburn's portal will not trigger because of that. It'll open when everyone else's opens.
It's close enough. Okay. That's probably good because you get a little more time. So there's not as many knee-jerk reactions. That's first. Secondarily, this is just reality. This stuff about kids waiting to get in the portal, and then people are contacted year-round.
Right.
Nonstop. There is no such thing as anything other than blatant cheating in college football now. It's gross. It is what it is. I'm not going to lie to anybody. With that being stated, Auburn's in a much better spot now because at least you have some clarity on your head coach. I'm sure there were times during this season you're like, Brian, if we'd have talked about it, I don't think A, B, and C are coming back. I never really dove into that with you, but I'm sure there were some points at this season that there were.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt that's the case, especially, again, offensively, barring something very unforeseen. It's just defense. They got to get the staff. The next 24 hours or so for the defense staff is massive. For all
and as we're recording this, there's no official word on DJ. I think that there's a chance that that's done by the time this goes up, and we'll address that either this afternoon or tomorrow, and we'll do a show this afternoon, live reaction to Golesh's presser and all that. But yeah, like there's just so much stuff that's got to happen these next few days, and then Wednesday is signing day. It's the calendar is a problem, but I don't really have a solution that I would offer up. But like, there's no way this is the best case as far as what the academic calendar is supposed to look like.
No, but
the athletic calendar is supposed to look like. Excuse me.
But the kids need to have their semesters lined up to transfer. There's no good way to do it, and coaches are going to change. I don't know if there is a possibility, but Auburn getting most of their staff already done. Name a school that has done this in the last 3. Like, they're ahead of the curve. I don't know how they did that. They must have vetted a lot. I
think they hired somebody who has a plan. I also think he's a we guy. I was told by somebody that like he's not a hey, I got the job, you're coming with me. It's a hey, we got the job, let's go.
That matters too.
I think that's a big deal.
Go. Yeah. People want to be included in the big boy table.
Right.
I would if I was one of his assistants.
100%.
So yeah, that's how you keep guys, and that's how coaches end up being very long time tenured coaches and winning. Their staff stays.
Mm-hmm.
When you have constant staff turnover, man, it's hard. It's possible, but it's really, really hard.
Right. Brian Smith, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Locked on the portal. The next 2 months ish will be bananas. So Auburn and everything else in the SEC is kind of where it starts. There'll be a lot of Auburn news. Check out Locked on the Portal wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah. Hey, I want to put you on the spot real quick. Do you mind? Just real quick.
Go right ahead.
Of the new SEC hires, because now all that is done yesterday.
Holy cow.
Where would you rank Auburn hiring Golesh? So we've got LSU hiring Lane. Ole Miss going with, I'm brain farting.
Yeah, Pete Golding.
Yeah, that's right.
That one makes
me
nervous.
Makes me very nervous. Arkansas hiring the Memphis head coach, which their reaction is fascinating. And Florida hiring Sumrall. That it? Yeah, that's it. Where would you rank Auburn hiring Golesh?
I think the fit, Auburn hit number 1. Whether or not Lane hits at LSU is the wild
card. Big risk. Yeah.
It's a massive, because he's not a guy that is going to fit in everywhere. And I don't
think it's a fit. I don't think it's a fit.
Not many people fit in Baton Rouge, man. It's tough. And they expect to win right away, and that roster needs a lot.
Wayne, then you add Lane Kiffin on the other side of the equation. It's just like, do those things equal? Like, I'm not sure.
And like, it could hit, because I know he can call plays on that, but it's not a guarantee. So that's either going to be a train wreck or really good. So I think Auburn's the safest pick out of all of them.
How about that? Craziness. You can check out the portal wherever you watch or listen to Locked on Auburn. The portal is there as well. So be sure to make the portal your second listen today. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.